Hi, I'm Sil, and today I'm going to teach you the difference between hobbies, pastimes, and sports. The other day, I was out and I was talking to someone, she was Japanese, and I asked her if she had any hobbies. I said, "Do you have any hobbies?" She answered, "Yes, I like shopping, I like playing golf, I like skiing, I like cooking, I like sleeping, I like listening to music, and I like watching movies." Now, in English, this answer would not really be a natural answer to the question, do you have any hobbies? The reason is because in English, we generally separate hobbies from pastimes and from sports. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a list of examples for each category, and then I will explain a little bit more about why they're different. For hobbies, I have model making, cooking, baking, dance, drawing, sketching, painting, sewing, knitting, coin collecting, bird watching, photography. For pastimes, watching TV, watching movies, going to the park, going for a walk, doing crosswords, playing video games, listening to music, shopping, reading, playing cards, playing board games. And for sports, baseball, volleyball, basketball, jogging, sailing, golf, yoga, bowling, karate, cycling, gymnastics. So in English, now it's not 100%, and sometimes it's difficult to know which category you should use. So don't try to remember this very, strictly. It's not a strict separation, and even native speakers will sometimes mix their answers up a little bit. However, generally speaking, there are some answers that a native speaker would never give to the question, do you have any hobbies? Or what are your hobbies? So the general, excuse me, the general distinction, okay, the way we separate the two, generally is that a hobby is something that you are passionate about, something that you put a lot of thought, a lot of effort, maybe a lot of time and a lot of money into. So, for example, these are typical, okay? Model making, someone who makes models, maybe model cars, model boats. They spend a lot of money, they spend a lot of time. It's something that they do, for relaxation maybe, or for as an investment sometimes, like coin collecting. From coin collecting, it's something that requires a lot of effort and something that you study to get some knowledge about. Okay, so hobbies generally require some passion, some dedication, effort in learning more about it, and maybe sometimes becoming better at it or developing some sort of skill perhaps. It depends. So sketching, for example, painting and sketching, these can be hobbies, or usually people who sketch, people who paint, they do it with passion, with more effort, and maybe it costs a lot of money too. So but again, it's not a 100% clear definition of a hobby. Like I said, some people might actually do these activities as a pastime. The pastimes, you might do some of these activities as a hobby if you are very passionate about it. For example, I have a friend who is a movie director. Now, he's not famous, but he likes to direct movies and he likes to make movies on his own. So for him, watching movies is a hobby because he watches the movie and he analyzes it. He tries to get some new techniques or new ideas, and then he uses those techniques and ideas in his movies. So for him, he can say watching movies is a hobby of his, or filmmaking is his hobby, his true hobby. Watching movies is not really the main focus. It's part of that bigger hobby. But things like watching TV, it's not really a hobby. Even if you love some TV shows, watching TV is not really a hobby. No native speaker, or not many native speakers, would answer watching TV. One thing that I get a lot in Japan is sleeping. Sleeping is something that native speakers would never answer as a hobby. Even a pastime, we don't think of sleeping as a pastime. So please don't answer sleeping as a hobby or a pastime because it's, in English anyway, it's not. Doing crosswords. You know, I enjoy doing crosswords sometimes, but I'm not passionate about it. It's not something that I like to make time for. That's another way you can think of a hobby. Something that you absolutely want to do so much that you make time for it. Whereas pastimes are generally things that you do when you have time for it, or when you have nothing to do. Again, reading. You know, for some people reading might be a hobby because it's something that they love to do. They are always buying new books and they spend so much time reading that it's not just a pastime, it's a hobby. It's something that they are passionate about. Okay, so now that's a general idea. Like I said, it depends mainly on the person, how much passion they have for it. Do they make time for that activity? Do they spend a lot of effort doing that activity? And that will help you differentiate between the two, okay? Sports. Typically, now sometimes we include sports in pastimes or hobbies, okay? It's not 100%, but typically we exclude sports from these categories. Typically we think of sports as something a little different. It's a sport. It's not really a hobby, it's not really a pastime, it's a sport. Again, it depends on the person, it depends on how they think about it, but generally speaking, okay? Now, you'll notice that here, sailing, golf, yoga, and bowling, I put an asterisk next to these words. And the reason I did that is because some people, or many people, I don't know how many, but many people don't really think of these as true sports. They think of baseball, volleyball, basketball, jogging, karate, cycling, gymnastics. Those are sports. They require a lot of physical activity, or you know, what we say, strenuous physical activity. And bowling is, for many people, more of a game than a sport. Yoga, it's not a game, but most people wouldn't call it a sport. They might call it a hobby. Okay, if the person is really into yoga, then it might be a hobby. If it's something they do very lightly and very occasionally, it might be a pastime. Golf. Again, I play golf once every 5 years. For me, it's not even a pastime. It's not a hobby, it's not a pastime, but if someone plays golf a lot, they would probably call it a hobby. But I put it here under sports because it's in the sports section. Some people do consider this a sport. And when you open a newspaper and you read about Tiger Woods, it's in the sports section. So some people call golf a sport. Many people call it simply a game, not a sport, because they feel that there's not enough physical activity when playing golf. Okay, and sailing. Again, sailing is something that you can compete. You can compete in. You can race. You can have sailing races. This will be in the newspaper under the sports section. Yes, but many people would not really call it a sport. They might call it a hobby. Okay. Now, sailing, for most people who do sail, for them it is at least a hobby. It's not really just a pastime. It's a hobby. It's something that they are passionate about. Most people that I know who sail, they really love it. Obviously, they spend a lot of money on it because it's very expensive. They love to go out and take care of their boat and learn new techniques on sailing, etc. So that gives you a general idea of how to separate hobbies from pastimes from sports. Remember, it's not a perfect separation, okay? So don't try to remember this as a perfect separation. But one thing, never answer "I like sleeping" when somebody, I mixed somebody and someone together. When somebody asks you, "What are your hobbies?" don't answer "I like sleeping." And listening to music is not a hobby. It's almost never a hobby. It can be part of a hobby. If you are a musician, you might listen to music to help yourself become a better musician. But it's almost never a hobby. Shopping, not really a hobby. Playing cards, it depends. If you take it very seriously, maybe it can be a hobby. If you play poker, for example, that could be a hobby. But again, this is something that you cannot remember by one rule. It's something that you feel, and you know it's right and you know it's wrong after you have enough experience with English and talking to native English speakers. So good luck, but I hope that this video gave you some good ideas. Not some good ideas, I'm sorry. Gave you a good idea of the difference between these three categories. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos, because if you go into my channel and you will find a lot of videos that will help you with your English. So please check it out, subscribe, click the like button, and send this video to your friends if you think they might like it too. Okay? So that's it for today. and we will see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.